Another choice is living in a small town or living in a big town.
As long as the Smithsonian's in a small town, I'll be okay. But it's not, so big town.
Okay.
That's a tough one for me, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I like small towns, but I also like the convenience of big cities, so it's a big toss-up.
I mean, we all live here. We can go to big city Richmond or Fredericksburg or D.C.
That's not big. That's the minor leagues.
I mean, we have major league traffic though. We have all-star traffic.
Oh yeah, we do.
Was it
Got some traffic.
Boston, Washington, and Richmond are supposed to be one city pretty soon?
What?
Yeah, they're going. It's like a strange name. It's like Bosch Wash.
What are they doing?
There's so much growth in between Boston and Washington and Richmond. There's so much growth. It's almost completely connected.
Intertwined.
So they've talked about that.
A couple of years ago, I was given the chance to live like in Glen Ellen, which is like a walk to Richmond. So
yeah.
But I went to stay here. So
yeah, you just love us too much. So
I like living where
but too much.
Dream. Okay, you had a harder time following your dreams or following a practical career?
What if your dreams are?
Well, that's a good thing. Some people don't choose that. I mean, if there was no question about money, what would your job be? What would be your ideal job to be able to do?
If I had the skill, I know this is really weird. I'm not crazy. Being a sniper for the SWAT team.
Mm-hmm. Sounds cool.
You know that works both ways too.
Yeah.
It's like tracers work both ways.
Yeah.
And like they told us, when you pull the pin on a hand grenade, it's supposed to have 4 seconds.
Don't try it.
Never does.
Like that one joke. My grandfather loved making long speeches and throwing hand grenades. He tried both of them out and
same time, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of them will get your attention. All right, and here's the last one. Which one of y'all would rather do it your way or do it the Lord's way?
Oh, come on. Are you seriously asking us that?
Yep.
What do you think?
Your way.
Well, that's interesting. We'd all love to say, we want to do it God's way, but that's not always true.
Yeah.
Sometimes we unintentionally do it our way, just by not even thinking it matters.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
Like saying, "Oh, I'll take this job because it's available," but you never asked him.
Okay, we're looking at a guy today, Saul or Paul. He gets his name changed. You'll notice a lot of characters in the Bible. Once they meet God, their names change. Okay, and there's specific reasons for that. Like Abram to Abraham. The H had to deal with using the letter H in their names. Had to deal with that they had a connection with God. That's what makes it different. A lot of times you'll see Sarah, S-A-R-A. Later on you'll see with H on the end of it. It has to do with them being followers of God. Okay? It's a little more difficult than that, but that's just to briefly summarize. Okay, let's look at chapter 9. This is talking about the conversion of Paul. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest. And would you do verse 2?
Okay, and
That's right.
And desired of him letters to Damascus, to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem.
And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly a light shone from around him from heaven.
Then he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?
And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
And he trembled and astonished, and he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what you must do.
And then the man which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man.
Then Saul arose from the ground, and when his eyes were open, he saw no one. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus.
And he was 3 days without sight, and neither ate nor drank.
And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named
Ananias.
And him said to the Lord in a vision, And to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord.
And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayeth. All right, let's stop right there. Let's kind of recap what's going on. Take the first couple of verses there. What's going on?
Well, basically, Saul is finding people to persecute.
Right. They're putting them to death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's like a mercenary bounty hunter type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember his background. He was very, very well educated, especially for that time. And he was Jewish, and he was kind of like in the hierarchy of the church there. Okay. So he's out being real diligent. We can't have these Christians out here doing this and stuff. And he was going around, gathering them up, putting them to death. You know? And we have anybody like that nowadays? Other than Muslims?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm. Think anything like that would ever happen here in America?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's already happened a number of times. Hard to believe that right here in Spotsylvania County, back in the 1700s, there was 2 or 3 preachers that were arrested for preaching. One, the sheriff come and got him in front of his congregation and bullwhipped him and took him off to jail because he was sharing the gospel. Can you imagine that? Imagine somebody, you standing in the store and you'd be arrested. You know, just some police officer come in and arrest you, drag you out, beat you up in the parking lot, throw you in the car and take you off. But that's what Paul is doing here. And yet, you see, most of the New Testament is written by Paul, and the great understanding. But he was the one, you remember Judas. Judas was the one that hung himself and betrayed Jesus, so he was unaccounted. And so Paul is brought up, and this is the one that God chose him. If we keep reading on, that God chose him, and he says, go into the city. Now, Ananias, if we read on a little bit more, Ananias is going, wait a minute, you want me to go to Paul? Paul's the guy that gets all these Christians killed. You know, thanks but no thanks, God. You know, I'll just show up at church this week. You know, that's good enough. But Paul was putting everybody to death. But God said, go ahead and go. How would you feel if God told you to do that now? Now, obviously, God's not going to tell you to go out here and preach to all the trucks going up and down the highway, stand in front of them and say, you know,
You're going to hell!